On this episode, I'm going to share with you 4 things that 13 years later, I still don't understand about Polish people. Boom! Boom! Cześć ludzie! What's up people? Hola, JT here. Welcome to another episode. First of all, sorry my voice sounds a little weird. I am recovering from a cold, I don't know, like 3 weeks already. You heard it correctly on the intro of this video. 13 years I've been with my Polish wife. Sounds like an incredibly long time, but you know, it has passed really fast and it has been the best years of my life. Through my relationship with her, I've gotten to know Polish people, I would like to believe, quite well. I have 2 Polish children, and let me tell you, that Polishness, that stuff comes in the veins, man. There are some things that I look at my son, for example, and I go like, who taught you that, man? That's just like your mom. Like, it's literally like a Polish behavior. I've come to realize that there are some things that are just kind of like inherited in the DNA. I don't know. It's very interesting. It makes me question whether you have this nature versus nurture. And I used to be heavily on the nurture side. Like, yeah, you become who you become because of the world that surrounds you and the people that you hang out with. And I still think that for the most part, that is the case. But every day when I see my son, I see so many things that he shares, not only with his mom, but other Poles. When I was kind of like thinking about this episode and what are some of those things that are still a surprise, because after 13 years, you would believe that you know a culture fairly well, but finding things that surprise you, that you still scratch your head, why do they happen? Because there is some sort of either dichotomy or some sort of juxtaposition of things, or maybe, I don't know, simply things contradict each other. And precisely on this video, I want to talk about those things that contradict each other and still have me scratching my head and trying to get to the bottom of why they happen here in Poland, why it just happened. The first thing that I just don't understand it. Hey, maybe you guys will enlighten me in the comments. As I love watching your comments because you guys are smart people and you always come up with explanations and opinions that I find extremely interesting. Okay, so please, if you know the answer to this, let me know. I mean, let us all know, the ones that are not Polish. In Poland, there is this individualism that is at the same time mixed with family-orientedness. When it comes to tasks, like daily things that they should do, work-related, family-related, anything that requires some sort of action that needs to be taken to achieve a goal, I find that Poles are very individualistic. They want to know what are their responsibilities, and they want to be kind of like left alone to figure it out. I live it every day with my wife. We have a family, and you know, families are like little governments. You kind of like have to administer the family. It's a company, and you can run a company in kind of like 2 different ways. Either it can be a fully collaborative effort where we join together our brain power and we kind of like decide what is the best plan of action, and maybe we can help each other. But there's another way how you can run a company, which is you have competent people that know what are their responsibilities, they know what they need to do, and they are sent to whatever extra room to think about it and to come up with a plan and to basically execute what needs to be done. And let me tell you, my friends, Latinos, we are on the first category. Like, we do everything kind of like holding hands. You know that game when you were a kid, you were like all the kids lined up together holding hands and just singing and doing this. So it's basically like that. And Poles are not like that whatsoever. They want to know, what is the task? What do I need to do? Leave me alone. You go do your thing. Then we kind of like join our efforts, and then everything's progressing and we can move forward and find other tasks. I can really get my head wrapped around that. Okay, if you're like that, I get it. And at the same time, Poles are extremely family oriented. They love getting together with their family members. They like hanging out with friends. They like community-based things when they are like, I don't know, fun times and more like relaxation. It's not so driven by the tasks. Although, whenever there are holidays, like, I don't know, Christmas or Easter. Families get together and everybody comes into the household. But it works almost like a perfect factory where every section of this factory is doing something independently from the other one, but somehow, some way, it's working. And at the end of the day, bam, there you have the final product. They all enjoy it together and feel like they're part of a community. In Latin America, we are kind of like in each other's space. We are doing a cookout and everybody's helping, or each person is supposed to bring a dish or something. Still, that day, you have people like, asking and touching and, hey, let me come here, that looks really good. That rice looks really good, but I think it needs a little bit of this. And then they go in and they start mingling with that person's dish. Imagine that happening in Poland. Someone would chop your arm off if, I don't know, if Mama Ella is supposed to make casserole and then my wife comes and tells her, this needs some work, and then she starts adding stuff and that's not gonna go over well, right? Poles still rejoice in meeting up with friends, and I don't know, I've never been as busy as I am these days because my son is every weekend meeting with some friend, or we have to go to, someone else's house because Vigo has a play date, or they come to our house, and I am sometimes telling my wife like, hey, listen, can we have kind of like a weekend off or something? It's like this child has bigger, better social life than I do. But it's because of precisely this desire to live in a reality where they feel that they know the people around them. They want to go to their local żabka or to their local supermarket and see the same people, even if they don't speak to them. And see the same people, even if they don't speak to them. Someone please explain that one to me. How come you're all individualistic at the same time, so group-oriented? Let me get close for this one. Pessimism that leads to growth and development. How is that so? Poles are some of the most pessimistic bunch of people that I've ever met. I love them. I love them. Don't forget, my wife, my 2 children are Polish, okay? I will not speak ill of Polish people, especially like just bashing them and all that, when my family is Polish. But you have to say what you have to say. Dominicans, we are loud. We can be obnoxious. It is the truth. It's very common to hear the infamous Polish complaining, narzekanie. It's almost like a religion here in Poland, right? Poles are constantly complaining about something. And let me tell you, I have yet to meet a person that complains a lot that is also optimistic and cheerful and likes to see the good things in life. Most folks that complain a lot are also quite pessimistic. You can see it here basically on a daily basis. I interact with a lot of Polish people, and I have noticed greatly that younger people, and I'm gonna say younger, like people early 40s and kind of like younger, are different. They are more into change. They are more interested in maybe seeing opportunity whenever there's hardship. They are more cheerful, even friendlier, you can say. But still, there's a very big chunk of the population that is, that have this face like almost impenetrable, and they are just always kind of like with a downer attitude to life, like everything is like catastrophic. If something is gonna happen, for sure it's gonna be bad, right? The glass is half empty. It's obvious. Poles have endured a lot. So I understand if there's a poor babcia that, hey, cannot see the positive in life other than, I don't know, her grandchildren eating her pierogi, which I'm sure makes her very happy. Although they will complain that they did not eat enough. At the same time, there's a very interesting phenomenon, which is the growth and development that this country has seen despite all this negativity. Like you would imagine that, okay, they're pessimistic. So whenever there are new opportunities being thrown their way, whenever someone comes with something nice, bright and shiny, a golden idea from the West, they're gonna be like, no, we've been there before, we are not interested, we are gonna keep things the way we like them, and that's it. And somehow it's not exactly like that. There's a lot of embracement, you say? Like they have embraced this new chapter in Polish history called development. But what is really interesting to me is how come a society that is so pessimistic in its idiosyncrasy, in the way it thinks, can reach those levels of growth and development and overall betterment of the country. I want to hear your answers on this, but I have one opinion about it, one guess I have about it. And I think that's the Polish desire to never quit and to prove everyone else wrong. They are like, just like, I'm gonna do it, doesn't matter what. If there's a task to be done, they're gonna do it. That's it. For a Pole, there's no quitting, there's no nothing, especially someone is kind of like doubting that they can do it. And that has led to growth, development, even richness. Poland today is one of the richest countries of the region. The third thing that I still cannot get it, baffles my mind every time I encounter this dichotomy, this oxymoron of life, and that is how Poles are, for the most part, driven by honesty, but they love a good backdoor, a good Kombinować. There is a very famous personality assessment tool called the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. And basically, it categorizes individuals into 16 personality types that are based on 4 dichotomies: extroversion and introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, and then judging and perceiving. We have judging versus perceiving. And this is the part that is interesting and what I want to expand on. Because judging versus perceiving is how you deal with the outside world. So basically, structure versus flexibility. I feel that a lot of Polish people live their lives with a little bit of structure and judgment, right? Like they want to follow rules. They want to know what are the things that need to be done, how do you do them, how is it written in the manual, what are you allowed to do and what are you not allowed to do, and they guide their actions based on those things. At the same time, they love to find a loophole. I think that Poles live for that particular moment when there's a rule that is written and then they find the loophole that will allow them to get away with murder. They don't want to break the law. I don't think Poles really want to break the law. I mean, yes, some people do. We know those. We're not talking about those. We're talking about the majority of Poles that I believe follow the rules. But what they are excellent at is Kombinować. Where does this come from? I don't know. You guys will tell me in the comments for sure, please. But I think that a little bit of that live under communism had a lot to do with this. Very interesting thing for me to see every day. How people go around the rules and it feels like they almost bend them. But they're not broken, okay? They're not broken. And a Pole will tell you that, hey, I haven't broken the law. I am just thinking of clever ways how to achieve my goals. Good old Polish Kombinować. And the last thing is how Poles love modernity, yet at the same time, they bathe in nostalgia. They love things of old and they embrace it. They don't want to let go. At the same time, you go look at all, for example, new projects and developments in Poland. You see the houses and it's all modern stuff. Unlike, for example, the UK, where the houses look the same as they did 100 years ago and they refuse to renovate them. In Poland, Poles absolutely love a remont.
They love it.
Whenever a Polish person, especially Polish women, if they have a chance to change up the whole living room, and get their husbands to, remodel stuff and change this and do that and whatever and paint again and this and change the windows because we need more modern stuff. All of a sudden, they are all in, but they are very attached to other things. It's very funny for me when I tune in, let's say at the end of the year when you have Sylvester, right? The last day of the year, New Year's Eve. And they have all these concerts in different parts of Poland, of course, organized by the different networks. And I see all these people playing. And I'm like, who are all these, older musicians? Oh, that's Edyta Górniak. I don't even, she's one of the biggest Polish singers. She's very loved in this country. And I'm like, okay, good. I mean, I'm not saying Edyta Górniak is old. I'm not saying that, right? I think she's like in her 50s. But from the perspective of the fast pace of modern music industry, the fact that Edyta Górniak makes her way to, Sylvester concert in Poland, and people are like, yes, yes, as if she was, I don't know, Taylor Swift. That is interesting to me. Poles love tradition, especially when it comes to things like food. They don't want to mess with how things have been done for ages. Pierogi are supposed to be made of either, cabbage and mushrooms or meat or potatoes. Don't make, tofu pierogi. That is not pierogi. What is that? As a vegetarian, I am very happy that we have tofu pierogi now, I gotta say. Things like this are difficult for Poles to embrace because the nostalgia level is very high for different things. They love vacationing in some of the same places because, I don't know, I guess it has a big nostalgia to them. Poles love going to when it's warm and to Spain. I'm joking. But still, it's interesting to me to see two things that initially you would think that are kind of like against each other, but somehow, some way, Polish people make it work. They make it work. Nostalgia, but modernity. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of this episode. I hope you liked it. Comment, please. Let me know the reason for this. If you're Polish, what is the reason? Explain to us. 13 years into this live roller coaster alongside a Polish person and, now in Poland, and I am still questioning some of those things. Not questioning as in like they're wrong, but more like how come they can coexist at the same time. Guys, see you on another episode. Pop up.